Hi, everyone. My name is Jay Ayala. It's my pleasure to be here with you. I'm one of the technical specialists at ATG USA. Today, we're taking a look at Revit for MEP, and specifically, we're going to be looking at how we can manage view filters to help with the MEP systems when it comes to creating the documentation, as well as just being able to do the working drawings and the working model, and a couple of tips that might be very helpful moving forward when you're using the design capabilities here. So as I'm looking at my 3D model here, this is a small model, as you can see, but the concept is the same whether you're working with small models or large ones. I'm looking at the ductwork layout here through the open top. I've removed the ceilings and I've removed the roofs through here, and as you can see, I've got the model, but it's kind of hard to tell which one is return and which one is supply, which one's exhaust when you have this view. Now, by default, typically you have the systems, as you can see here, the systems for return air in red and the systems for supply air in blue, okay? Now that's just applying a line color to the actual edge of the ductwork, which is fine, but it's kind of hard to make things out sometimes. So I don't actually prefer this method. I've adopted this long ago with the view filters. And when I did so, several of my coworkers were like, hey, how do you do that? And it's something that I realized not everybody is doing. So I wanted to share that with everybody here at ATG. So before I get started into this, I do want to inform you guys that I have created a blog that we have up on our ATG website. Okay, so here we're at the atgusa.com homepage, and I want to show you where this blog is. This is all the written documentation that will support the webcast that we currently have going on. So in the resources area, you're going to go to the workflow and solutions. This is where all the blog posts are kept, and there's all kinds of stuff here with different types of technology. You can filter them out, you can search for them, as you can see here. Mine happens to be this one here, Revit for MEP, View Filters for Systems. So that's this guy right here. So this is where all that information is kept, and the learning objectives for today are going to be threefold. We're going to learn how to create the filters to start with. We're going to learn how to leverage them with templates, view templates. And then we're going to apply the filters from a view template onto other views. So that way we have consistency from our 3D views to our plan views and sections and all the views that we are interested in. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys where the blog post was and where you would find that. So again, that's at the ATG resources subtab here, and then you'll go to workflows and solutions. You'll find all the blog posts there. Okay, getting back to our systems here. Let's create a view filter, okay? It's pretty simple to do, and you can access it in many ways. On the keyboard, there's a couple of shortcuts that you can type. You can type VG for visibility graphics. You can also type VV, Victor, to access the visibility graphics. And finally, another way that you can get there is in the ribbon, also in the palette here for the properties. You can go to the visibility graphics override and hit that button there. Regardless of how you get there, once you're here, how do you make a view filter? So you'll notice that there's several tabs along the top. The one that we're looking for is filters, as you can see here. And I can see that I've got a mechanical supply filter and a mechanical return filter. And I mentioned to you that these are the default filters that come with Revit, right? So I don't really like how it has the outline. I would rather see the duct in its entirety as red, or in blue in its entirety, right? So the entire duct, I want to see that shaded a certain color rather than seeing it all gray with outlines that are different colors. So how do we do that? Okay, so you can either modify the existing filter, or you can make a new one. For the purposes of education on this video, I'm going to show you how we create a new filter. So that's down here at the bottom. You'll see that there's an edit/new button. Okay. And then you'll see that we've got the mechanical-return and mechanical-supply. So I'll make a new one down here, and I'm going to call this duct-return. Okay, I'm going to start with the return. And what I want to do is I want to tell it, look, all of the ductwork items I want to include here. So I'll scroll down this list, or you can use the filter to just say, okay, give me the mechanical. Okay, I'll scroll down the list and I'll find duct fittings. I'll find, let's see, what else? If you had insulation showing, you would choose that. Let's see, what else? And ducts. Okay, so I'm going to do fittings and ducts. So for those of you watching, feel free to pose questions in the Q&A pane, and Justin is going to keep track of those Q&A. And Justin, whenever there's a question, please feel free to interrupt, and we'll address those questions as they pop up. So I encourage you guys to use the Q&A pane there for questions. Or the chat feature rather, sorry. So, okay, now that we've selected the duct fittings and the ducts, I wanna know if there's any other categories that, that my fellow Revit MEP engineers out there watching want to include. I'm just gonna include the duct fittings and the ducts for now. And then, so the rule is gonna be, let's see, do we wanna add a rule? Nope, I don't wanna add any rules, but this is where you could say, I also wanna add, you know, oh yeah, we do want to add a rule. Let's do a rule. Okay, so it has to, and so it's going to be duct fittings and ducts, and the, let's see, the system name has to equal, and now I can pick from my list here. Oh, sorry. System classification has to equal return error. Okay. So what I'm saying here is that for the ducts-return filter, I'm filtering just the duct that are called return. It has to be of a classification of duct, fittings, and duct, okay? Now also, it has to have a system classification of return error, okay? So I'm narrowing down the system classification. Okay, so now that I've made that one, I can apply it. And you'll notice that I've got duct return over here. Rather than creating one from scratch, I'm just going to duplicate this one, and I'll rename this one, except I'm going to change the return to supply here. All right, so now I've got duct work, and it's so one called duct supply, and I've got one that's filtering for duct fittings as well as ducts. And the system classification this time, I'm going to change it. So this one is supply air, okay? And I'll apply that. Now, if I want to ensure that everything is set up properly, I'll just go back and forth between return error and, sorry, duct-return and duct-supply. And I'm looking for this particular value to make sure it changes. So let me cycle back and forth and see if that changes. So I'm going to click on return. It did, in fact, change to return error. Click on supply, and you can see as I click back and forth that those are in fact changing. All right, one final one that I'm going to make. Again, I'm going to duplicate, and then I'm going to rename this one exhaust. All right. So now that I've got my exhaust, I just have to go in here and change my classification. And just to verify again that all of my 3 different systems have been created with different selection criteria, I'm just going to select on each return error, supply, and exhaust. And I'm watching to ensure that those values are different, okay? So I've made my filters. Let's go ahead and apply and hit OK to close out of this dialog box, okay? Next, we want to add them into the system, okay? But I want to remove these. So I'll go ahead and remove supply. I'll remove return. And let me just see what happens when I do that to my visibility over here. Okay, so let's go ahead and add those view filters now. Oh, I forgot to add them. That's what's going on. Let me add them. So I'm going to pick duct exhaust, duct return, and duct supply. All right, so we have them, but we need to define how they're going to be used. That's the next thing. So let's start again with return. I'll click on return and I'll say, look, the patterns, this time I'm going to go to the patterns. And I like to do it backwards. So I usually don't start from the top down. I usually start from the bottom up, okay? So here I'll go to the pattern and I'll select, sorry, the color rather, and I'll pick blue for my color. And then my pattern, I'll change that to a solid fill pattern, okay? So now that's blue. And if I apply this, I want you to notice how that changes the color of my supply air coming through the system here. So that's how I prefer to see it, is the entire duct colored blue rather than gray, okay? Let's do it again. This time I'm going to go to the supply. And remember I said I like doing it backwards from the bottom up for the patterns. So this is why. If I go to patterns, you're going to see that it's black. And that's because my current color is not overridden, right? So if you do it here first, you change the color first, then you'll see how the pattern shows up red here in your preview. That's why I do it from the bottom up. It doesn't matter what order you do it in. It's just a best practice of mine. Okay, and then let's do the exhaust while we're here. The color for the exhaust is going to be a dirty green. And then I'll change that to a solid fill. Okay, let's apply that to the view. And there we have our filters that have been created for our systems, okay? All right, so now that we've created this view filter for this setup, if I go to another view, for example, let's go to a floor plan. Let's go to this floor plan over here. So what I'm seeing here, again, it's not consistent with my 3D view. I want to see the ductwork solid here, okay? Now, keep in mind, this is for working drawings. This is for the view filter I'm making is for working drawings. When I print this, it's all going to be black and white anyway, right? So, or it'll be, you know, outlined like this. But again, I don't prefer seeing it this way. I prefer seeing it shaded. When I go to the shaded view, I prefer seeing that instead of gray. It's hard to make out. I prefer seeing solid colors for my different systems. So how do I leverage the view filter that I just created rather than having to go through that here in this view and then in a section view and then in another view? How do I manage that, right? So that's the next step here. So what we'll do is we'll go back to that 3D view that we just had, okay? So here we have it. What we'll do is we'll go next to our view menu, our view ribbon rather, and we're going to go to view templates. And if you click on this, you're going to see that you can create a template. The second option here is to create a template from the current view. So that's what we'll do. We'll create a template from this current view. And I'm going to call this working view filters. You can name it anything you want, but I just want to be specific that these are for my work. These view filters are for my working drawings. So I've named it working view filters. All right. So next I get the dialog box here for the view templates. And I want to ensure, I want to start from the left, go down, and then I want to move over to the right and go down, okay? So the discipline filter, you're seeing that it's all, and the view type filter, right now it says 3D views and walkthroughs. So what this means is this view template that you're making will only be applied to 3D views and walkthroughs. And I don't want that to be the case. I want this to be all my views, every single view. I want that to work on everything, okay? So here's my working view filters. I don't have to rename it or duplicate or anything at this point, but I do want to remove all of the check marks except for view filter, okay? So here's my view filter, and I want to leave that one on. Everything else I just want to take off. I want to untick all these boxes. Stand by, guys. And I just want to have the visibility overrides, sorry, the filters on for this view template. And then I can hit OK. Okay, so I've just made a new view filter that takes from this view, whatever the view filters that were set up. So it's grabbing the view filters from this view, and now we can go over to the other part. So step one, we created the filters. Step two, we've managed a view template, we've created it. Now we're going to apply the view template to this view, okay? So here's the view template. And now we can apply a template properties to the current view. That's the first option that you see under view templates, okay? So here we have all of the different views that we can use. And I called mine working. Sorry, here it is. Go to all. And I called it working view filters. And notice it's only got that one thing check mark, and I can apply these properties. And as soon as I do that, you can see that the ductwork in the background has already taken into effect. Guys, so I can do this yet again for another view. And here I'll just go to a section view. And I can see I've got my gray ductwork, and I don't like that, right? So here I can go easily apply that view template again, rather than having the having to remake the view filters every time for every view. So that's a quick tip on how we can do this, manage those view. Oh, did I not hit the button there? I thought I did. Let's go to all. View filters. Yeah, that's applied. And let's go to shaded. There it is. I was on the wrong. I think I was on, what was it, realistic? I was on realistic. It was taking the materials. Okay. So guys, that's how we can leverage view filters and be productive with our ways to do the working drawings. And again, you'll repeat this process with the view filters and making view filters for printing properties, right? So maybe if we go back to the plan view here, if we were to print something here, maybe we would want to go back to, let's see, what were we at right before? I think we were at hidden line is what we were at before. Yep. And we could revert and remove the view filters to be for printing purposes, rather than that printing the entire outline of the ductwork solid blue and solid red. Brian, same concepts for electrical. Yeah, that'll work as well, right? So if you got cable tray or conduit rather on different systems, you can do that as well. Thank you, Brian. Harold, okay. Do the view templates apply to any project? So the answer is yes. You can use transfer project standards. Where is that? I think that's under manage. And where is transfer? Here it is, transfer project standards. And one of the things that you can select here, I believe, are view filters. Where are they? Or maybe is it just filters? Yeah, filters right there. So you can transfer from one project, the view filters that you've already made, using transfer project standards. Just ensure that you have both of those projects, the target project that you want these view filters to be applied to, and the source project where the view filters exist. So you can use transfer project standards to do that. All right. Harold, thank you. Okay, from Sean. Sean, please explain the or option in the filters. Yeah, okay, when I'm creating a filter, what it's going to do is it's going to, when you have and, it says that the ducts, fittings, and the ducts, okay, and it has to have the system classification of return. Now, if you use the or, it's going to say you're going to pick the duct fittings or the system classification, right? So the or option is it'll do either what you've selected, or it's going to do multiple systems, right? So it can be the return, it could be the exhaust, or it could be the supply. It's going to color all of them the same color. So you don't want to use or when you want to separate them out, right? If you want 3 systems on 3 separate colors, you want to use and just that one system. If you want all of the ductwork to be blue or whatever, let's just say you wanted all of them, you would say you would build one filter called ducts without the name of the filter being ducts, without a system name. And then you would say, okay, so all of the ducts, and it could be either return, supply, exhaust, and they're all going to be blue, right? So, or is if you wanted all of them. All right, Sean. All right, so Harold asked another question, which is if used in a template file. Okay, yeah, yep. So you can take the view filters and put them in a template. That way, they'll always be there. You'll also want to manage the view template itself, the view template, which is different from a template file. So if you have the view templates already created, Harold, inside of your template file, then you can simply apply them to every view that you create. Okay, thank you guys so much. I have to go to the Q&A pane. I've got someone else here. So Jorge, let me read this out loud to the crowd here. When demolishing elements, piping, ductwork, the elements become undefined. Can we use a filter to keep the system type? Example, demolishing HVAC piping, can we apply a filter to avoid showing the demo piping in the plumbing drawings view? Okay. So let's say that we've done some demo. Say we've done some demo, and I want to turn the demo off. This is how I'm reading this. Can we apply a filter to avoid showing the demo? So turn the demo off. Okay. I'm gonna have to try that. I don't actually have an answer right now. Let's try. All right, Jorge, this is for you, bud. Let's go look at this. So let's say I wanted to apply some demo to piping. I have some piping here. Let's see. Yeah, I got a little bit of piping over here. Okay, I think, yeah, is this piping? Yeah, okay. So let's just demo this pipe, Jorge. Let's see. Where is the demo? Where's my hammer? All right, some of you guys might have to help me. Where is my hammer? Oh, there it is. Okay, so let's demo that pipe right there. Okay. So we want to make a view filter that removes the demo piping, is how I'm reading this. All right, so let's go take a look at this pipe. All right, so the pipe, yeah, so the pipe doesn't have a system, it's undefined. So how do we do it then? So how do we do it? What criteria can we use that would allow us to pick this? Okay, I found one. All right, so here's one. So let's take a look at this pipe right here. So this pipe right here, it does have a system. It's hydronic return. The classification here is hydronic return. This other pipe does not. The demo pipe does not. As you can see, it's undefined. However, when I go look at the phase, if I go look at the bottom under phase demolished, it says none. This one here, if I look at it, it says phase demolished new. Okay. So let's make a view filter to remove that. So let's go to VG, typing that on my keyboard. Let's go to filters. Let's add. Let's create a new one. And we'll call this demoed pipe. Okay. We're going to pick from the mechanical, or rather, I think we should go piping. Okay. And we're going to filter down to pipes and pipe fittings. Okay, so that's the first thing that I'm grabbing. I'm grabbing all of the pipes and all of the fittings, but now I have to specify only the demoed pipe. So how do I do that? All right, so here we'll go to, can we find phase? Let's see. I was thinking we can use the phase, but I'm not seeing that in the list here. All right, we've got some comments popping up here. Harold, I'll get back to that comment as soon as we wrap this one up. Assembly code. Disconnected pipe system. Overall size. Well, let's just see. Maybe we can use undefined as our criteria. Equals undefined. Apply. Okay. And so here's, oh, I haven't added it. Let me add it. Demoed pipe. And so to ensure that we've got that and not showing, we turn the visibility off. I know this is weird. You add it in and then you turn it off. But once you do that, I want you to see what's going to happen right over here. Okay. So let me hit apply. And notice the pipe is not there anymore. Okay. So that's how we would do a demoed pipe. We would use the system classification of undefined. However, we have to be careful with that, because if you're just drawing pipe out there without a system, it's going to be on an undefined system classification. Then everything will turn off. So just ensure that as you're drawing your systems, they're defined on systems in that case, Jorge, and we can leverage that. Let me make sure that I get back to that panel. All right, Harold, I use a project template file that has existing view templates, but they don't always apply to new projects for some reason. For instance, if I turn off grids and sections for linked models, the view template will not work when applying to a new project. I have to do it manually and then resave the view template. Any ideas? All right, so Harold, I see what you're getting at for linked models. Okay, so this is a little bit different. I think, so view templates, right? So view templates, let's go look at this. Let me get into my visibility graphics here. So for linked files, Revit links, you can change that by going to this little button right here by host view, right? So you can change that. So rather than it being by host, you can do it by linked, okay? Or you can even do it by custom. Now, in the model categories or the annotation categories, you want to change this to custom as well. And you want to turn off the grids. You want to turn off the levels. Levels is already off. And you want to turn off the sections. Sections, where are you? Why am I not seeing it? Scope boxes, we might want to turn that one off as well. View titles, view references. All right. Oh, I'm on piping. Let's bring architecture on as well. So grids, grid guides. All right. So this is different than view filters, but we could create a view template. Okay. So that's where we would manage how the links are coming in and how they're being created. Now, if it's by host view, in your host view, so the MEP model, you need to have your sections, you need to have your grids on. So it's also going to be applied to the underlying Revit link. So what I typically do is I manipulate the Revit link rather than my current view. So Revit links, I will go into both the Autobahn for the architecture and the structural reference. I'll go in there and turn these custom so that you don't see from the Revit link the architectural background, the section heads, the the grid, the levels. So that way it's different, right? So that's where I would manage that, but that's different from view templates. I don't know if there's a way to marry those two. Let's go take a look at view templates and see what is available. Oh, view templates, manage view templates. Okay, so here we have, do we have Revit links in here? No, I don't think we do. Let's just go to a architectural plan. Oh, visibility graphics, overrides, imports. Here we go. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. So I guess the answer is yes, we can do that. So let me expand these so we can see these better. Yeah, we can do that. All right, so the key here then would be set up your view the way you like it in your view template file, right? Set that up. Yeah, I'm thinking about it, guys. So sorry about the interruptions of silence here, but set that up in your view template and then set that up in your visibility graphics the way that you would normally like to see it. Step one, and then step two, you would make a view template from your current view, and just ensure that you check just that one, right? So apply from the current view and ensure that you take them all off, except for this time, not filters, you're going to do the import. So Harold, I think that'll help the way you set that up is get in there and change your current view for the architectural background with the categories that you don't want to see, turn them off. And then you come in here and apply from a current view, right? Apply or create a new view template from the current view and just use the overrides for the imports, the Revit links. I believe that's how that'll work. All right, let's get back to the chat panel and see what else is. Okay, and let's answer this one live. So Alan says, view templates should not be used to control phasing. Phase filters should be defined by the user. Also, duct graphics overrides are still defined and applied to all ducts. Duct fill is per your new filters, but line color has been overridden and still defined by your graphics overrides. Alan, thank you for bringing that up. I wasn't planning on addressing it, but now that you brought that up, let's talk about that. Okay, so here's what Alan is talking about. So there are graphic overrides to the systems that you can create at the system level. I'm not a proponent for them because I can filter better than you can do the graphics override. Okay, so here's what we're talking about, guys. So the graphics overrides that he's talking about, you have to go to the families. And let's go to, what is it, duct system? Yeah, duct systems. And here's exhaust. Let's just do the return error, what we started with. Now, I want you to notice that the return error is blue. The solid color is blue, but it's got a red outline. So why is that? And so you can see that it's being graphically overridden here at the return error level, right? So here's the graphics overrides for that system, which is called return air. And you can see it's red, okay? So I can change this to, I like to change it to white, and you'll see why here in just a minute. And so you can apply that, okay? Same thing with the exhaust and the supply air. So you can change that, or just make sure that it's not overridden at all, right? So let's go and double click on supply air to bring that up. Here's the graphics override, and you can just say, you know what, no override. And apply that, and you're gonna see that now it just went back to black rather than being blue, right? And then I could do that for the exhaust as well. Okay, so why is that there? So for a while there, between Revit MEP, when it was first released back in, I think it was 05, 06, when it was first released in 06, the only way we could change anything about it was with filters. The graphics override then became something that was available to us, oh, I want to say 2011, 2012, 2013. I can't remember what release it was, but the graphics override allowed us to do essentially what you're seeing here with filters. However, it was at a system level. And the reason I was, I'm trying to remember back why I adopted the filters rather than the graphics override, but I think it had to do with the inflexibility of when you had your sheets versus your working drawings. And that's why I decided to stick with the filters rather than the graphics override. Yeah, so absolutely, Alan, you were right. So there's the graphics overrides for the systems, and to reach those, you can leverage them here at the exhaust or at the system definition level, okay? So for duct systems, you can go change the graphics there. You can also use the fill, right? That pattern and that fill, the solid red pattern, the solid blue pattern for all of the ductwork. Now, the reason I made that one white and the reason I prefer it white is when I'm doing the working drawings, that really stands out in my design. And I would encourage you guys to, and I wrote about this inside of the blog that you guys may want to go take a look at. So I hope that covers that topic. I'm not sure what the question was there regarding that, Alan. So view template should not be used for phasing. Okay, we covered that. Also, duct graphics overrides are still defined and applied to all ducts. Yes. Yep. So, okay, I think we got to that. Yep. Okay. So, Alan, thank you so much for that. Let's go check and make sure that there's no more chat messages. Yep, there's a couple more here. All right, good. Okay, I think that brings a close to all the interactions that we were having. The Q&A session, I think, is coming to a close here. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this with me. I really appreciate it. I put a little work into getting, some documentation created and some of the philosophy behind why you want to work with it that way. And you'll see that in that blog. And just for your information regarding that blog, let me go to it one more time here as we close this out. And let's go look at that. Oh, we had another chat. Thank you, Brian. Okay, thank you, Brian. All right. And again, that's at our atgusa.com. You're going to go to our website here, and you'll quickly see the resources tab here. And there's a sub tab here called workflows and solutions. And that's where we have all the different blogs that we wind up producing. You can filter them out by, I think, product or by topic. And of course, you're going to see that here, Revit for MEP, View Filters for Systems. That's the one that, the blog that pertains to this. And you're going to see some additional information in there as to why you would want to work with it. And in this blog post, you're seeing here that I've animated with some GIFs here, but I think it's an example on plumbing pipe. And so you can use this not just on ductwork, but all the systems. I think it was, was it Brian that asked about electrical? But absolutely, you can use this for multiple things. And you can see here that I broke it out into different topics. the learning objectives here, right? So here's managing the view filters, okay? And then down below, you can see that I broke it out into saving the filter into view templates, and then applying view templates to any view, right? So depending on what you're looking at, you're going to be able to work with that. And then, of course, I put the conclusion. All right, guys, thank you once again so much for your time and attention. I'm working currently on another blog, and then I'll have a subsequent webcast on that as well. So stay tuned for more. Of course, my partners and my colleagues all at ATG, my fellow technical specialists, are always producing content. So stay tuned for more, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much.